Hey, what's going on YouTube? So, on Adam for Adam, they have this. When you search people, you can filter. And you can do that, of course, with most any dating apps nowadays. But you can filter by what you want to filter by. You can filter by age. You can filter by race. You can filter by location. You can filter by HIV status. You can filter by any of those things that you want. And you also have the option to choose either online profiles or everybody to see not only people who are online, but just anybody who ever has had a profile. So I decided to go ahead and look at anybody who's ever had a profile just to see, what's going on with folk. And I came across this one dude, Gorgeous Thick Dark Chocolate, who I met years ago. And when I met him, he told me, like, we got along really, really well, and I was like, this is going good. Hey, this thing is going right. And at the time, I think I was 24, and he was like 30, early 30s, 30, whatever. But we weren't that far apart. But he was a little bit older than me. And during that first date, he told me about his HIV status. And I don't want to say things were different back then, so you got to bear with me, right? Also, it was before I was diagnosed with MS, so before I knew what it felt like to have to reveal and even though and people always tell me like MS isn't something you can give to somebody else, but I know what it feels like to have a diagnosis and discussing that diagnosis with somebody that you're interested in and running the risk of them no longer being interested in you because of that diagnosis. Anyway, all of that to say, when he told me about his HIV status, I had actually just gotten out of a relationship with the dude who is HIV positive, and I was like, I don't know if I want to date somebody else who's HIV positive. I mean, so anyway, he told me about his HIV status. I didn't know as much about HIV as I coulda, woulda, shoulda at that point. So I faded away from him. And you know how people do that. They do the fade away. And I've done the fade away to people. So now when people give me the fade away because of my MS situation, diagnosis, I get it because I've done it before and I understand it's a diagnosis and maybe you don't know that much about it, and who am I to expect you to have more knowledge about it? Who am I to expect you to do research on this stuff when you can just get on the app and there are hundreds more guys that you can choose from? Just that simple. So anyway, I can't going back to the when I got on A for A just a couple of days ago. I didn't expect this, but I came across his profile from when he was 30. And on the profile, it asked for your HIV status and it said he was negative. And part of me was like, well, maybe he was just lying about his status. But then the other part of me was like, wow, what if this was his profile before he was diagnosed with HIV? And it really just changed my mood thinking about that, because I remembered seeing those photos of him and I remember being like, golly, he is fine. Gorgeous, thick, dark chocolate. He is gorgeous. And I remember seeing those very photos of him when I met him that time when I was 24. I'm now. All of that to say, a significant amount of time has passed. So when I came across that profile and I saw it had him saying that he was negative, it really just, because it shows, it's like what a difference a day makes, you know? And it reminded me, as far as my MS diagnosis, when I think back to when I was 25, right, 26, yeah, right after my 26th birthday, how I had no idea what was going to come in my future just a few months later. You never know what a difference a day makes, what a difference a month makes, what a difference. It just really, I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, talk to y'all later, YouTube. Peace, be blessed.